So this script came to me about 2 years ago because my manager, Erin Brown, represents a lot of writers. And she said, I really want you to meet these guys. And they've written this script called Sharpwood I think that you're going to love. So she sent it to me, and I was absolutely astonished by the script. It was so wild and fun and entertaining and had such great characters. We met and I said, I really, really love this and I want to come aboard and I want to play Madeline and, let's do it and let's try to get this going and let's produce it ourselves. They're such extraordinary writers. The characters are so full and exciting and developed and surprising. And for me, I think one of the things that I think has been missing when I look for material is that kind of character work, where the drama is driven by what these people are doing and saying to each other, not by some sort of outside action. That has always been the most fascinating thing to me as an actor, watching relationships on film. Well, there was a vetting process, for the directors too. This was interesting for me because this was really my first time on the other side of it, like as a producer. I've been developing other things, but this one sort of just kind of came together in the most wonderful way. And then once we had Apple and A24 and Picture Start aboard, that's when we all sort of put our heads together and started looking for a director. And there were many candidates. There really were. There were lots of really, really interesting people who were interested in the script. And Ben was someone who read the script very early on and threw his hat in the ring. And for me, the fact that he had that much enthusiasm for the project, it was really important. It's like you want someone to kind of come to it with the sort of passion that you have for it. And then we had, once again, we had these kind of crazy Zoom meetings where everyone's all over the world. And Ben just had a magnificent pitch. But he has a, you can see from his work in The Crown, actually, that his sense of character and of how people relate to one another in a kind of a most personal way. How all these interactions, even if they are historical ones that we see in The Crown, are in fact, personally motivated. That really, it's very present in his work. And that was something that I responded to very much. And as he did his pitch, it was interesting. He kind of went through each character one by one and talked about what they were personally and what they were symbolically and what they meant to one another and what kind of element they brought to the film. And he just had a clarity, I think an intellectual clarity about it and an emotional clarity and a visual clarity as well. He was someone who saw the movie in a very specific way, and we all just fell in love with him. He's just great. And above and beyond, he's just the most wonderful person to work with. He's so incredibly collaborative and I think makes everyone feel like it's just a delightful day at work when you're with him. I'm so happy about this cast of actors. I think they're really interesting, really different, and surprising. Sebastian Stan is somebody that I really, really admired. I loved his work, and I think that the energy he brings to Max is just extraordinary, and we needed him to do something very specific. I think each of these characters is incredibly mutable. I think that's one of the things that's, as human beings are, right? We're not, everyone has lots of different dimensions, and I think Sebastian was really able to bring that dimensionality to his character. He's very vibrant, very, very alive on screen. Justice Smith, we needed somebody really specific to play Tom. He has a sweetness about him and an openness and a sense of joy, I think, and also a soulful quality. And he anchors the movie. He's the very first person you see when you start this film. So he's been just fantastic. John Lithgow is someone I've admired for such a long time. He's so accomplished and so incredibly kind, and really just, every ounce of him is exciting to watch on screen. It was wonderful to work with him. Briana Middleton is brand new, really right out of school. And there was a lot of discussion about that as we were casting, like, who's going to play Sandra? Because Sandra is obviously a very central figure in the movie, and a lot of the plot revolves around, what happens to Sandra. And so there were always lots of suggestions. People were like, what about this person? What about that person? And we had a lot of really wonderful choices. But then to find her, to find this girl who's just brand new, who's right out of school, who's so talented and so spectacularly beautiful. The camera loves her. You can't take your eyes off of her. It's just it's a thrill, and it's really, really fun to discover someone new. The thing that really drew me to this, is it is a character piece. And it's an ensemble. I mean, when I look at the history of the movies that I've made, I realize I've made a lot of ensemble movies because I think I'm drawn to them. I think that life is an ensemble movie, right? We all kind of exist in this world of people that we relate to. So I like to be in them. I like to watch them. So I was drawn to it for that reason. And I was drawn to it because it's entertaining. It's really funny. It's very mysterious. It's surprising. I think it's the kind of thing that people are really going to want to watch. I love New York. I mean, I've been here for, really my entire adult life, minus a few years here and there. But it's interesting because Ben, of course, is English. And when he was pitching this, he also talked about maybe moving the movie to like London or Berlin. And I was like, no, no. I said, this is a New York story. This is very, very much about, I think Manhattan and New York in particular is a place where everything is allowed. You can be whoever you want to be. There don't seem to be any kind of parameters to what people can experience here. I wanted that in this movie. I wanted that feeling of like anything can happen here because it's in New York City. What do I love about acting? What don't I love about acting? I think what's been interesting for me is that the longer I do it, the more I like it. I didn't expect that to happen. There's something about, I think, being in a film set particularly that appeals to me because it's such a tremendous, it's a collective effort. It's an enormous collaboration. It's like everybody's area of expertise is their own area of expertise, and so you find people sometimes that have like I always say, actors have an expertise that's like very deep, very narrow. Like we know our character, we know what we're doing, but we you rely on the other actors to know their business. The director kind of has an amazing overview. You have a production designer who creates these worlds, a costume designer who dresses us and defines us that way. Things are shaped and lit very specifically, and the camera's framing something. So behind all of those things are individuals who are doing it. So the best part of film acting is the creation of this object, which is a film, by so many talented people.